Hello, this is Molly with Molly Q Creates and ScrapInTime.com. I'm going to show you 5 ways to use the Cricut Offset feature in Cricut Design Space for your next project. To get started, let's delete this so we can start off with a clean canvas. Okay, we're going to start with the word beautiful. So I'm going to type it in all caps. Beautiful. All right, so now let's change the font. And one thing you might notice is that now there's this option for only kerned fonts. So kerned fonts optimizes the space between the letters. However, if that is selected, you will not see all of your fonts. For instance, I'm looking for farmland, and that is not, oh, they are under the kerned fonts, but you will not see all of the Cricut fonts if you have only kerned fonts. If you uncheck it, you will see more fonts. So if you are wondering why you're only seeing certain fonts, look here and see whether this only kerned fonts is checked or not. So let's start off with beautiful being farmland. Farmland is a font I purchased from Creative Marketplace, and I will link to it at the bottom of this video. Okay, so let's open up the letter spacing and let's make this wide, probably a little bit wider. Okay, now one of the things you can do with the offset feature, the first one is to create a shadow for each individual letter. So click on offset, it's up here in the toolbar. Now you can weld offset or not, and if you want individual letters or individual shadows, you do not want the weld selected. And up here, this is where you can select the size of the shadow. See how it gets that blue outline around it? And now see how it's bigger, much bigger. So using the slider, you can adjust the size of your shadow. Let's make this a little bit smaller. You can also here change the corners. Right now, all the corners are rounded. You can change that to square, and it squares off the corners. Okay, so let's apply that. So now I have a shadow for each letter. So that is the first way you can use offset to put shadows on each individual letter. The second way to use offset is to use a shadow against a phrase or a title. So let's type like a rainbow. And now we could do a shadow that's welded. So let's do offset. And you see how that the weld is checked? So the weld is checked, you have to hit apply. So now you see how you have one continuous shadow instead of individual ones. Let's delete that and let's change this font to, it was another farm font, to Farm Market. Again, this is one purchased from Creative Marketplace, and you can use any fonts for this. These are just some ones that I have purchased that I particularly like. Okay, so like a rainbow. Now one thing with these letters is that if you ungroup them, they are individual letters. So let's just move that back, and let's make sure that this cuts as you see it. So let's, after it's all selected, go down here to weld. Now this title is one piece. You can see that the little lines between the letters that connect are removed. Okay, so let's select like a rainbow, do offset, and we can make it smaller or larger. So there, it's really big. Let's go down and make it smaller. Okay, so let's apply a offset to like a rainbow. Again, you can use the slider to make it smaller or bigger. So let's make it a little bit smaller. And again, you have the option of the corners to make them round or square. So let's keep it at round and apply it. So now I have the shadow, but if you notice, I have a couple spots here that are going to be small to cut out, which is fine. However, if you want to remove them, select your shadow, and down here in the bottom right corner, way at the bottom, is contour. So now you can select those areas and it will remove them. Let's see, did I get them all? Yep, okay. So now you see how they disappeared? Okay, now I'm going to redo this beautiful. Let's delete that shadow. I want the words to be closer together, or the letters to be closer together. So let's just change this to more of so there, that looks better. And then let's go ahead and reapply the offset. And I don't want the offset to be touching. Maybe just slightly smaller. And apply. So now what we can do is, so now we have beautiful like a rainbow. We can select everything and we can create another offset to be applied to the whole title. Let's make it a little bit bigger. And now you have a double shadow. Again, you could select this double shadow, go to contour, and take out some of these inner spots. Not everything is connecting, so not everything will be able to be removed. So there, now we have beautiful like a rainbow title with both individual shadows, a welded shadow, and then a shadow for everything. Now if you want to change any of the shadow layers, you cannot click on it to change it, but what you can do is you can delete it and create a new one. All right, so let's add one more thing to our beautiful like a rainbow. Let's go to images, and now I do have Cricut. I have the design space, the all access. So I just wanted to grab a rainbow. So I'm not sure whether or not this would be one of the free images that you could use or not. Again, we're just kind of going for the design. So you could use any rainbow. But the third way of using Cricut Offset is to create an offset of an image. So now that we have this design, I actually want it to be, I'm going to make it a little bit shorter, a little bit wider. So I unclicked the lock bar. So now I could change the size disproportionately. Okay, so let's go to offset. And again, you can change the size of the offset, make it smaller or bigger. Let's apply that, and now you can see with the black shadow layer that you have some holes in there, which is fine if that's the way you want to cut it. I'm going to hit contour and select those so that they are not going to cut and so that you're going to have a solid background layer. Okay. Now I don't want the rainbow. I want to select these. I'm going to resize it so it fits down to my rainbow. Okay. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I want to change the color of the word beautiful. So if I go up here to operations and select this color, up here are all of the colors used in the design. So I'm going to change that to blue. And then down here, I'm going to change like a rainbow. Again, I'm going to change the color. I'm going to use the top line as a guide and change it to this peachy orangish color. Okay, so now I have everything together. And so now I'm going to create an offset of the whole design. So there you can see I have the offset on there. So I'm going to hit apply. And again, one more time, I'm going to hit the contour and take out all of those little spots down here. just by selecting them. There, so now I have a design. I'm going to change this offset layer. I want the back offset layer. I'm going to change that to white. And then I'm going to select everything. So now you're kind of wondering why I did that, because now you can't really see it. It doesn't really show up. But now I'm going to flatten it. So flattening it takes all of the individual layers and makes them one, and then it turns it into a print then cut. So now what I can do is I can take this design, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, and I'm actually going to make, so now we can turn it into a sticker. So I'm going to go up to make it, and I did load some Avery sticker project paper into my printer, and I have my Cricut on. So the mat is going to show up, and you will get this black box. That is going to be the cut. That is going to help Cricut to identify where the cut image is. So that is, you do need that black box on there. It's not something you create in Design Space. It's something that the software puts on it for you, but it is necessary that it needs to print out with the box. Okay, so then continue. So now print, first send to printer. So select send to printer, and then you need to select your printer. So I want the Canon. I have an Canon inkjet printer. So now I'm going to hit print. And then once that is printed, I will select I need sticker stock, so I'm going to search for sticker. Printable sticker paper white. So once it's done printing, I will then be able to cut it with a Cricut, and then I'll be right back. All right, so now that we've printed out the design and put it through the Cricut, just wanted to go through the steps one more time. So I used Avery sticker project paper. It's a full sheet of label stock. This one is designed for electronic cutting machines and for inkjet printers. So you load that into your printer. It'll print out, and it'll print this black box around it. So Design Space does that. You do not need to add that. Cricut needs the box for guides for when it's cutting. So once it's done detecting the box, it'll cut out your design. Then you have a sticker. Now when I did the back shadow, I did it white so that you won't see it on the sticker. However, you could do it any color you want. The other thing is it does ask for a bleed when you're in the print settings, set it to print. You do want it to bleed. That means it's going to make the back layer a little bit larger. And so that way, if the Cricut is off slightly, it's not going to be noticeable. So there you go. I gave you 5 different ways you can use the offset against individual letters, on words and phrases, can combine everything on images, and then you combine the image and the title. You can flatten it all and then create a sticker for print and cut. So there are many different ways to use the offset feature. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment below. Thank you.